Hi everyone, it's Denise from Dobby Books, and tonight what I'm going to do is go over some reference books that I have. I love reference books. I don't know why, but that's okay because I'm already a book nerd, so I can like anything. But anyway, oh, hold on, my kitty cat wants to come in. And this evening, what I'm going to do is go over, let's see, 5 or 6 of my reference books. I have more, but I've just chosen these for tonight because I did have one of my subscribers who was very curious about some of the reference books that I have. My guess is there might be at least 2 of them that I've shown you before, but the others I don't think I've shown anyone. So let's start. This first one, and they're from all different genres. So I'm just going to grab the first one off the top of the pile. And this would go under a biblical reference. This is a very well-known one, the Wycliffe Bible Commentary. I think at one point I had the dust cover, but it's been years. I've had this for years. I don't have it anymore. But it's just very interesting because, so if anybody doesn't know, it goes through all the books of the Bible. If you look at the top, you'll see like this is from Exodus. And it goes through just about every chapter and verse and provides commentary on it. This was something that I had met way back in my EV Christian days, that many of the seminary students would have to purchase for their studies. Yeah, it does go into the New Testament. So here you see it covers this section of John. It's put together very much like a dictionary. So that's one reference I've had for a very long time. And I guess because of the sentimental value, I don't know when the last time was I ever used this. But it has a lot of sentimental value. I got it way back in the 80s when I was in my 20s. And I guess I'm hanging on to it for that reason. The next one I have is, and this falls under the category of Christianity, but more specifically Catholic Christianity. This is a publication by Oxford University Press, and it's the Oxford Handbook of the Jesuits. I'm getting hair on me. The Oxford Handbook of the Jesuits. This is something I think I got like 2 years ago, at the very least, at least a year ago, because I was reading, get this, Thomas Pynchon, the Mason-Dixon. And in that book, he was mentioning the Jesuits. And it just intrigued me because of the way he was talking about them. I thought, I'm going to read up on some history of the Jesuits. I mean, I knew what I knew, right? Having grown up as a Catholic, and I was not a nominal Catholic. I was informed about my faith, right? And I had studied some history. So I was just curious. I wanted to see what their actual history was, and I wanted something that was fairly comprehensive, and this fit the bill. So in the table of contents, this has foundation and administration, starts with the beginning, spirituality and economy, education and politics, global mission, Jesuit aesthetics and artistic production, scientific projects, anti-Jesuitism, that's a tongue twister, enlightenment and the suppression, and then finally restoration. And there's a whole page of contributors for this one. Have I read it yet? No. I think what I did is there were certain parts of it that I wanted to find out about as I was reading through Mason-Dixon, so I went to those particular areas, but that's what reference is for, right? So there we go. The Oxford Handbook of the Jesuits. That's another reference. Now, the next one is a history reference. I love these references. These are the ones published by DK, and they are so stunning. So, I mean, just for the images alone. If all you want to do is look at pictures, get the book. But this is just fantastic. This is the 3rd edition of the Smithsonian History. Look at that cover. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. And of course, it's like an oversized coffee table book. I don't have a coffee table. So it stays up here. And this is, for example, Chinese history. We're talking about the Han Dynasty. And here's an example of a 2-page spread. It's just fantastic. And you get so much history. in a condensed format. And I remember at one point, oh, this is beautiful. The Battle of Lepanto. You've got to see this, you guys. Just the artwork is fantastic. Look at that. Wow. This can be used as a history spine. So you get your basic information on a particular time in history or event in history. You've got your basic breakdown with dates, important names, important events, maybe something added to that, like an archaeological find that's added something to it. And there you go. And then you go from there. If there was an interesting person that was mentioned in it, you can look up more about them. You can add dates to your timeline. It's just fantastic. It really is. So this is Smithsonian's History from the Dawn of Civilization to the Present Day, 3rd edition. The other reference I have is also a DK publication, but this one, let me move my little tag here, is on science. Another awesome cover, another coffee table size book. This is the 2nd edition. And again, this could be like a spine. If you're studying the history of science, you've got your spine right there. So here's Renaissance medicine and surgery. Here's the 2-page spread. So if you look in the corners over here, you have these little information windows. That one says after. You have important people. Excerpts from notebooks. Major events, and then you have these just fantastic pieces of artwork. Oh, I just love this. And this is, let me see, the one on this page says before, and this one says after, which I love. It just provides this continuous flow. And this is just great about if you've got, I mean, this is something you could even share with middle schoolers who are not big on science, who are not big on history, but this is something they can explore. You know, if you want them, I want you to look up, you know, what was going on in such and such year, or find the, you know, the name of such and such person, and have them read up on them. It's an easy, very visual way of these more hesitant students, I would think, to be drawn in. So there's science. Okay, Smithsonian Science, the definitive visual guide. Then the other one I have here, this is a publication by Oxford University Press. This is a slightly older book, I believe. There may be a more revised edition than this one, but this is the Oxford Companion to Children's Literature. And this one covers, I want to look at the, this is the 1st edition, okay. So this goes from, it's alphabetical. So A to Z, if I look in, let's see, I'm going to randomly choose something. Aidan Chambers, 1934, British educationalist, critic of children's literature and young adult novelist who worked as a teacher and was for 7 years an Anglican monk. And that's listed here. There's more information. If I go to the next section, under G, we have Gaynick, The Story of a Pigeon, 1927, children's novel by Dan Gopal Mukherjee. Shitra Griva, gaily painted neck, is a domesticated Calcutta pigeon, the pet of the narrator who trains him as a carrier. So it covers authors, stories, like this one here says Gentle Heritage, a novel by Francis E. Crompton, The Scrope Children fear a neighbor who they suppose is a bogey because of his black eyeshade. He proves to be a blind man whose gentleness makes a deep impression on them. The book has occasionally been reprinted. So it's just filled with information. Ingalls, Laura Ingalls Wilder. Ellen McGregor, American author of comic science fiction stories about Miss Lavinia Pickerel. Louise Mack, I want to see more stories here. My Side of the Mountain, there's a title. My Friend Flicka. My Friend Mr. Leakey. Mrs. Elizabeth Pinchard, a writer of moral tales best known for The Blind Child or Anecdotes of the Wyndham Family, 1791. Cool. I mean, this is just fantastic. It's just it's a storehouse of fantastic literary history for children, titles and authors and what have you. Fantastic. The second to the last one I have is a publication by hold on. I can't tell. Gen Reflecting Advisory Series. Where's the copyright date? Libraries Unlimited. Okay. It is historical fiction, a guide to the genre. I think I might have shown this in the past. And there's 2 volumes, and both volumes look identical. They're different covers, but it doesn't say, you know, one's an updated edition and the other one not. So I couldn't quite figure that out. But this is numbered. So section 1, it talks about, gosh, let's see, the appeal of the past, traditional historical novels, multi-period epics, romancing the past, sagas, literary historical novels, Christian historical fiction, historical thrillers, and each one of these is numbered. So in section 5, sagas with a sense of place, for instance, when it's talking about sagas. An example, A House Divided by Simon & Schuster, 1999, 365 pages. Matthew Wallingham, blinded in action during World War II, falls in love with his nurse, Liz Ducksworth, though both of them have family problems and secrets to contend with. His wealthy family does not accept working-class Liz, and Liz's abusive former fiancé takes revenge on her for leaving him. Oh, gosh. Sagas of ethnic and cultural heritage, Native Americans. Blackfeet Season. Forge, 1999, 383 pages. Every winter is a struggle for survival, but for the Blackfeet tribe on the Western Plains in the 1860s, it's also a struggle for leadership. And then it goes farther on into what it's about. Ancient Civilization, the Lieutenant Back series. In the 15th century BC, during the reign of the female pharaoh Queen Hatshepsut, Lieutenant Back of the Medjay police in the fortress city of Butin, modern Sudan, serves as chief investigator. Though her dialogue is fairly modern, Haney's historical accuracy has been praised by the editors of KMT, a scholarly journal of ancient Egypt. And then it lists the titles in that series. And they were published, let me see, the latest was 2003, the earliest was 1997. All of this on historical fiction. International Intrigue, the British Isles, Europe, Latin Caribbean. Celebrity characters, romantic sagas, historical romances. Oh, wow, it's got every category. Really cool book to have. And the last one, this one is for Johnny Keene. Johnny told me that he had the Orange Book, the reference book by Penguin, the big hardbound orange book that lists all the Penguin publications from the beginning to the present. And I asked him if he had this book, the classic Penguin, cover to cover. And what this book has is examples of all the Penguin Classics Deluxe editions, or the Penguin Classics, or the Penguin Orange Collection. That's one I forgot to mention. This one here, let's look at this cover. The Master and Margarita. So you have the cover there, what it looks like. Other examples. It has the Shakespeare collection. It has, for example, The Wind in the Willows, The Secret Garden, The Wizard of Oz, and Little Women. And this was and Black Beauty, the Penguin Threads covers. And I have The Wind in the Willows. I love that book. It has, let me see, the Christmas Classics, I love the horror ones. Let's see. Let me see if I can find a good cover for you. Penguin Horror. So this one here is Haunted Castles, the complete Gothic stories. And of course, I look at the spines. They'll go well. Other covers in that series are displayed here. So if you ever want to find these particular beautifully illustrated covers from Penguin, now you've got your examples here and your titles. What's this cover from? I want to find one more illustration for you before I sign off here. These are the drop caps. I don't know, what do you guys think about the drop caps? This is the back of a book by James Joyce, The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. Isn't that interesting? And you get the ISBN and everything. Wonderful, wonderful reference works to have. The Heart of Darkness, I have this book. Cool. So this is the book. Classic Penguin, cover to cover. It's about this thick. Great little reference. So those are the references that I'm sharing with you today. Perhaps if this turns out to be a video that enough people like, I'll go ahead and I'll put together another 5 or 6 of my reference books and we'll go over those. So let me know, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.